Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows is the sequel to the 2014 TMNT reboot that made a shitload of money despite bad reviews, and it seems that this one might be more of the same, although releasing it in the wake of Captain America Civil War and X-Men Apocalypse may not have been the smartest idea. What's interesting about this film is that they recast a lot of it despite it not being another reboot. We have new actors for Leonardo, Shredder, Karai, probably some others, as well as a new director who seems to have made it his life's mission to make up for the flaws that the last film had. If you recall my review of the last film, you'll know that I found it to be deeply flawed, but I didn't hate it. I found it entertaining despite its warts. I just think that there's room for improvement. You might be wondering, did that happen? Does Out of the Shadows improve upon its predecessor? And I'm here to tell you that it definitely is an improvement. I also want to say that this film is not great. Sadly, instead of a huge leap forward, we get a huge stumble forward. It's kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. The issues with the last film was that it had too much of a focus on the less interesting human characters, a generally dark tone that didn't work, and a nonsensical plot that was greatly marred by ill-advised reshoots after the plan to reveal main villain Sax as the Shredder was scrapped and new scenes had to be shot that established Shredder and Sax as separate characters. This film gives you a lot more of the Turtles, as well as introducing new non-human characters, the most interesting of which are the mutants Bebop and Rocksteady, straight out of the 1987 cartoon show, though rather than being bumbling oafs, they're portrayed as extremely dangerous, though still doofy enough to make you laugh. We had too much of April last time, and in this film her role is not only toned down to the secondary character that she's supposed to be, but what we do get of her is better, since she's usually playing off of other characters. We also get a more outlandish story. This time, the Foot Clan breaks Shredder, as well as the human version of Bebop and Rocksteady, out of prison during a transfer to another prison. Despite the Turtles trying to stop them, he uses technology from another dimension to teleport away. The secondary villain is Baxter Stockman, who's played by Tyler Perry. This was a big worry for me, since I don't find his humor to be interesting or good. But he plays the nerdy scientist obsessed with glory pretty well, and thankfully he's not overused. The technology comes from another dimension where Krang wants to come through and take over the Earth, and for some reason, Shredder is stupid enough to help him because he thinks Krang will help him defeat the Turtles. The sad part is all Krang does is he gives Shredder purple ooze that lets him create mutants, but Bebop and Rocksteady spend more time tangling with newcomer Casey Jones than they do with the Turtles, who are mostly having their own turmoil due to the fact that Leonardo is keeping secrets, and it splits the team down the middle, with Donatello backing him, Michelangelo and Raphael going off on their own. Shredder is attempting to basically do a series of video game side quests to put together a portal to bring the Technodrome to Earth and allow Krang to take over, all while trying to wrangle Baxter, Bebop, Rocksteady, and Karai just kind of stands in the background. I think she had a total of 1 line. Not sure why they bothered recasting her just to say 1 line and to stand there. Oh well. We have Casey Jones, and the movie serves as his origin story, showing us how he goes from being a prison guard with dreams of becoming a detective to the vigilante that we're more familiar with. Does it seem like a lot is going on? Because yeah, there's a lot going on. I haven't even mentioned it all, and that's my main issue. The first movie is overly simple and mostly complicated by its own simplicity, such as trying to tie April into the Turtles' origins, and of course, there's the reshoots. But this film has a lot of different threads going on that it has to move at an insanely fast pace to show everything. It goes by so fast from scene to scene that you get mood whiplash, or at least you would get mood whiplash if the movie bothered to set a mood. It fixes the issues that the first film had. It's a lot less dark, the Turtles look a bit better, the voice actor for Leonardo is better, Splinter looks better, the Shredder doesn't look like a robot, there's less April, but it goes so far in the other direction. Instead of trying to make a decent movie, it seems like they're trying so hard to recreate the 1987 cartoon series. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing. The movie could play well off of nostalgia, it's just that there's so many plots. We have the Turtles' own personality riffs, Leonardo learning to be a better leader, Mikey and Raph wanting to be human, Vern taking credit for the Turtles' work, April investigating Baxter, Baxter trying to get his name in the history book, Shredder breaking out of prison, Krang wanting to take over the world, the origin of Casey Jones, the origin of Bebop and Rocksteady, 2 betrayals, Casey and April getting themselves into a mess with the police, and a few more plots that I can't really mention because they would be spoilers. I think that the issue is the movie's overstuffed. But if it seems like I'm bagging on the movie, well, I gotta say I did enjoy it more than the last one. It's not a bad movie, it's just what I said it was. It's not great. The humor almost always works. The only joke that I rolled my eyes at was just a fart. The obligatory fart joke. And I have to say that I absolutely loved every second of Bebop and Rocksteady. Those two were reinvented in a really hilarious way that I support fully. I also think that the actor that played the Shredder did a good job, but he sadly gets sidelined near the end when Krang steps in to take his place as the villain, essentially. The last film tried so hard to be cool and modern, contemporary, dark, stylish, but this one goes out of its way to be a throwback. I mean, we get the frickin' Technodrome in a Turtles movie. For that alone, I recommend the film if you grew up in the late 80s and 90s watching the cartoon. The movie is like a love letter to it, even if it is a long, rambling, disorganized love letter. It's good, it's not great. It fixed all the flaws from the last one, but it created a few new flaws of its own, but I prefer it. I'm going to give it a 7. I think we'll probably never, ever get a film like the original 1990 Turtles film that worked both as fan service and as its own standalone film that anybody could enjoy. This one, it's for the fans. If you're wondering if you'll like it, are you a fan? I'm a fan, so I enjoyed it. But if you're not a fan of the Turtles, and you didn't watch the 1987 cartoon, and you don't know who Bebop and Rocksteady are, you're probably only going to see the flaws in this movie, and you're probably not going to enjoy it. So I had to say, if you're around my age and you watch Ninja Turtles growing up, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10, but for everybody else, skip this one.